Hi, and welcome back to Community Hotline. I'm glad you stayed with us. I'm still Monica Weitzel, but now I have another guest. And my third guest here tonight is Tara Wilkins. Tara, you are here representing Oregon United for Marriage.
That's correct.
That's correct. Okay. And Oregon United for Marriage is all about the freedom to marry, right? I mean, it's about gays can marry, heterosexual couples can marry. Anybody should be able to marry in a civil union in the state of Oregon. Is that kind of how this works? Kind of explain it to me.
Oregon United for Marriage is a group of coalition partners across Oregon who are working for the freedom to marry for lesbian and gay couples. Now we're talking about civil marriage, which should be distinguished from religious marriage. So it's access to civil marriage for all Oregonians.
So obviously, heterosexual couples have always had that.
Right.
But why is it important for a gay or lesbian couple to be able to have a civil marriage? What benefits do they get through marriage?
Right. Well, lesbian and gay couples want the same things that other couples do: the freedom to marry the person they love, to show commitment and stability for their families. And we believe that we all should have equal access to civil marriage. Creating a second category like domestic partnerships or civil unions is separate but not equal. It's not the same. Marriage is how we as a culture define family. Mm-hmm. And lesbian and gay people just want to be treated equally.
Like everybody else.
Right.
There's been a lot of pushback, though, from the community and from a lot of people in faith communities. Mm-hmm. You're involved in a faith community. Tell me about your organization. You're with Community of Welcoming Congregations.
Yes,
Tell
the
me about
Community of
that.
Welcoming Congregations is an interfaith organization that works with congregations of all faith traditions that work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender equality and inclusion. And we believe that that lesbian and gay people should be treated the same as everyone else, and that we have theological beliefs about that. So what's different, though, about the Oregon United for the Freedom to Marry is that we're talking about civil marriage, mm-hmm. which is the way that the government and our culture define what marriage is. Faith communities are not forced to marry anybody they don't want to marry. So we can hold a spectrum of religious views, but that's different from civil marriage. And so many faith communities, including my own tradition, the United Church of Christ, support the freedom to marry. And we can each hold our own religious views, but we shouldn't deny civil marriage on religious grounds.
So to make sure I understand, say if the church I belong to did not support gay marriage mm-hmm. as a religious
right.
Union, but however, on the other hand, as a civil union, I could support that. I could support it in one area, but not the other.
Well, the important thing is that no pastor or rabbi or faith community would ever be forced to marry anybody they didn't want to marry. Mm-hmm. That the ballot measure before us protects the freedom of religion. And so people can hold their religious views in whatever way feels right for them and genuine and authentic for them, which is just the way it is now. Mm-hmm. No rabbi or pastor can be forced to marry anybody that they don't want to marry, or they don't feel, everyone has different rules and ideas around that.
Right.
And so what we're talking about is access to civil marriage. When a heterosexual couple gets married, two things happen. When the pastor signs the marriage license, they act on behalf of the state, in addition to whatever their religious belief is in officiating for the religious ceremony. So we feel it's really important to highlight that distinction, because then same-gender couples can marry in religious institutions or not, depending on what their faith community believes. In my church, I want to be able to treat our same-gender couples, our lesbian and gay couples, the same as I do our other couples. Mm-hmm. And right now I can't treat them the same. And so we believe that we're all equal, that we want to treat others as we want to be treated, and that it's really important to work for that. So we're excited to be part of this effort and having conversations with Oregonians all over the state to express why this is important.
So I understand that there's a new building or a new location for this, the Oregonians what is it, Oregonians United for Marriage.
Right.
They're having a grand opening.
Yeah, for the campaign office, we have a long time to have many conversations. And we encourage people to, talk with their friends and their neighbors about why marriage matters. And what is it about marriage that is important? And it's a great conversation to have because it calls us all to think more deeply about our relationships and our families and what's important about love and commitment. And so we have a long time to begin to do that.
So the campaign is going to be starting now, but when are we talking about?
We're talking about a ballot measure on the ballot in next year, in 2014.
Okay. Yeah, that's a ways away, but there's a lot of work to be done, I'm sure. People do think of marriage as being an important institution, but the definition of family has changed so much, over the last few years. It used to be there's a mom, there's a dad, there's the kids, and things. There's a lot of different definitions of family now. What's your experience as a pastor with the kinds of families that you see in your congregations? Do they how would you define a family now?
Well, I think that families come in all kinds of different configurations when it comes to raising children and even just supporting our friends and loved ones. But what we're talking about is the support of couples, of lesbian and gay couples, to have the same access to marriage that heterosexual couples have. It stabilizes the family. It helps us to have all the rights and privileges and responsibilities that all couples have. And so it's important for us to think about it in that way. Also to our children who are being given the message that their family somehow is different,
right.
or somehow is not as good as, or not equal to. And so we want to communicate the message that all families should be respected and honored in this way.
Yeah. And it's got to be tough for a kid to be, like my last guest was Amy Roloff, and we talked about bullying. I'm sure that kids that are, the product of any kind of family that may be considered different, and I don't mean just a gay or lesbian couple, but dad has a job that somebody thinks is weird, or or they're a military family and they have to travel all the time. I mean, there could be any number of reasons why somebody might say your family's different than mine, so you're not as good. And that's, I agree that the respect, for each other and for different kinds of families is really important. The organization, the Oregon United for Marriage, it's all about the campaign to get this on the ballot in next November, correct? Right. Okay, tell me a little more about your organization. If say I supported this, the gay marriage or the right to marry, how would I go about supporting that? What could I do to make a difference? Would I become involved with community of welcoming congregations? Would I become involved with the Oregon United for Marriage?
Right. I would suggest becoming involved with Oregon United for Marriage. That's what we are encouraging our member congregations to do. That it's an organization, a grassroots organization that will be working toward the same goal. Right now we're in the process of gathering signatures to make sure that it gets on the ballot. We launched this process on February 14th with a prayer breakfast. And of the first 100 signatures, 75 of the first signatures were clergy.
Oh,
so
really?
People of faith are really supporting the freedom to marry across Oregon. My organization has a broader mission than the freedom to marry. We work with congregations on helping them to become welcoming, which is the designation that we give a congregation that believes in being intentionally inclusive to LGBT people. So we do a lot of education around LGBT issues, helping to sensitize congregations on how they can be inclusive. We also do pastoral care and support and education within the broader LGBT community in healing from religious wounds and just being supportive of general issues and spiritual issues that face our community. So our organization has a broader mission than this very specific idea of the freedom to marry. But we're deeply committed over this next year, a little over a year, to have the conversation and to talk with people about why marriage matters. And I'm always encouraging people to talk to their barber and their doctor and their plumber about why marriage is important, and to have the conversation, because what we're seeing across the country is that people are expanding their ideas about this, and they're understanding that, we have this common idea of treating others as we want to be treated. And when they listen and understand what the issue's really about, people are changing their minds, or they're saying, oh, well, I never thought about that way.
So
And
you're planting the seed, if nothing else, planting the seed that maybe I can be open to this, but I have to think about it.
well, in my
a
work,
while.
relationship always matters. And so, building relationships with the people we know and talking with them and having a conversation about why marriage matters makes a difference. We find that when people generally understand that we're talking about civil marriage and not religious marriage, and being fair to lesbian and gay couples, people come around.
Well, it's just having the conversation is a good thing. Being able to have the conversation
Right.
without animosity, with respect for each other. Yeah, I think
Absolutely.
that's an important thing. How long have you been involved in the working toward this? I mean, how long have you been? Has your whole pastoral career been working with LGBT couples and families?
No, I've been working with the community of welcoming congregations for about 10 years. And I just recently, a year ago, started serving a church, Bridgeport United Church of Christ in Northeast Portland, which is a community that is not all LGBT. So my ministry is broader than that. But I've been doing work in the LGBT movement for about 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And in various ways, mostly in the religious world, and so working within traditions to build more acceptance and understanding.
Wow. So what else do we think we need to know about gay marriage or the freedom to marry that I'm what might I not know that is important?
Well, what you might not know is that domestic partnerships, which is what we currently have, is not the same as marriage. It gives us some benefits, but it doesn't give us that full inclusion. That definition of marriage is our families are the same as everyone else's, and that it doesn't cover all of the responsibilities and privileges that go with marriage. So you might not know that.
The kind of things
me.
that people find out when somebody is in the hospital or somebody dies, and all the legal things. I know that.
Often when there's a tragedy is when we realize the ways that things aren't the same.
Lack of equality.
Right, and so we feel that it's important, and it's time. We'll be the last state on the West Coast to get in line, because California and Washington both have the freedom to marry, and this gives us an opportunity to correct, to get discrimination out of Oregon's Constitution, and to support all couples in Oregon.
Right. Well, I want to encourage people to go to this open house,
Yes.
which is the Oregon United for Marriage open house, which, if I have my information correct, is on, it's right off of Sandy. Let's see, where is this? It's on 21st.
I think it's
Sandy.
24th.
24th. I know, we'll have the information on the screen here. But the open house will be for people to come and just kind of find out what the campaign's all about. If they want to volunteer, they can. There'll be some light snacks and beverages, good chance to network and mingle and maybe have some of those conversations.
Right, come and celebrate, and to meet other people that are working for the freedom to marry, or just come with your questions to find out what it's all about and to see why it's important. And then our information, the Community of Welcoming Congregations, our website is www.welcomingcongregations.org. If you're looking for a faith community we have more than 20 denominations and religious traditions represented in our membership, and you can find a faith community near you that is supportive on our issues.
Are the faith communities, are they all Christian, or are they other? They're both. So they're
No, we have
very diverse.
We have 5 movements of Judaism, Buddhist, Catholic, most mainline Protestant, Quaker.
Wow.
So we
Nice.
have a variety of
mix.
traditions. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I like that because the respect for each other and
Absolutely.
that's good. Okay, well, before we run out of time, what else do I need to know? Tell me what is the most important thing to you that people should know about the freedom to marry?
That all of our families should be treated fairly and equally, and that the freedom to marry helps us to support our Oregonian families equally. Marriage is the way we define family, and it's important. The way it is right now is the Oregon Constitution discriminates against lesbian and gay couples, and we just want to correct that so that all families are treated equally and fairly, so that in my congregation I can treat my gay and lesbian couples the same way that I treat my heterosexual couples, and that we're all the same.
You can wish them happy anniversary on
That's
their
right.
anniversaries. And
That's right.
Yeah, that's
Well,
great.
you know, there's no such thing as gay marriage, just like there's no such thing as gay laundry and gay lawn mowing and gay grocery shopping, right? Family is family.
Yeah.
And we just want to be treated the same.
Same as everybody else.
Right.
Sounds good to me. Thank you very much, Tara, for being on today. If you're interested in getting more information, the website's up on the screen. Do come to the open house. I plan on being there. I hope to see you there. You'll be there too?
I will.
Okay, we'll see you then.
Thanks
Thanks so much for watching Community Hotline. I'm Monica Weitzel. We'll see you next week.